What's up everybody, Matt Maran here. So whenever I take my 2019 Mustang Bullitt to car shows or even online whenever I post about it, one of the first and most common questions I get about the vehicle is what makes it different than a regular Mustang GT. So in this video I'm going to list every single little detail that's different about the Bullitt over a regular Mustang GT. There's tons of differences. Obviously a lot of them are very minor differences, but there are very cool differences nonetheless that really make the Bullitt unique and make it very, very cool. So the first thing, the main headline that I always tell everyone that everyone wants to know is, is it any more power, any faster? And it is. So it's, 480 horsepower instead of 460 from a regular Mustang GT. So how it gets that power, of course, there's a unique tune. It also has the GT350's intake manifold and the GT350's open air intake system. And so those two things combined with the new tune are what help it to primarily get that extra horsepower. It also has a larger throttle body. It goes from 82 millimeters to 87 millimeters. So that also helps again with that breathing. And so according to the chief engineer of the Bullitt here, he said that basically they tuned it so with regular Mustang GTs the power kind of drops off a little bit as you get closer to redline. I think it makes peak power at like 7,000 in a regular GT. These of course all redline up to 7,500, both the regular GT and the Bullitt, 7,500 RPM redline. And he described it as with this the peak power continues all the way to that redline, so it makes you want to push it all the way to redline actually, instead of just short shifting at 7,000, which is what you will do in a regular Mustang GT usually, just for getting that peak power. So that's a very cool thing. I have yet to experience that because I'm still on the break-in period and I'm babying it for the first 1,000 miles. I'm almost at 600 miles right now, but I didn't want to wait to make this video, so that's why I'm doing this now. But a few other things to kind of walk around the car aside from the mechanical stuff. So this is based on a performance package level 1 regular Mustang that you see from 2018. Of course 2019 is mostly carryover. Two new things for 2019 that the Bullitt also receives, but all 2019 Mustang GTs with a manual also get is the manual transmission now has auto rev matching. It's an option. You can select it in the gauge cluster there and have it on or off depending on your preference, but it will save whatever you choose. And the active rev match is really, really cool, and I'll detail more about that in my review, and you can watch my delivery video, my first thoughts on that. So that's nice. And also the B&O Play audio system with 1,000 watts is new it's an option for all 2019 Mustang GTs. It's also an option in the Bullitt. You have to get the electronics package in the Bullitt in order to get that B&O Play system. But it's definitely worth it because it sounds really good, a lot more powerful than the Shaker Pro that I had in my previous Mustang GT. So that's it as far as the 2019 changes here, but some of the exterior stuff. So like I said, it is based on performance package level 1, so you still get the Brembo brakes. They're painted red here on the Bullitt. That's a unique thing. Otherwise they're usually, I think, just gray. Of course you can see the unique Bullitt wheels, 19 inches here, black torque thrust inspired wheel with the machined lip, again a throwback to the 60s torque thrust American racing wheels. Coming back to the front here, front lip is about what you see on any other performance package level 1, but you do of course have the ponyless grille. They deleted the pony badge, and also a unique thing on the Bullitt is this is gloss black and this is gloss black. In other Mustangs this is matte black and they don't really match. That kind of drove me crazy on the regular 2018 Mustang GTs. I love that this matches. That is such a nice thing. You also have the chrome treatment here around it. Again, another little retro throwback. It also helps to kind of break it up so it's not just an empty black space. It kind of has a little bit of extra pop to it. Also, it's a cloudy day, so unfortunately this paint color doesn't get to be shown off too well, but it's dark Highland green, which is different than the dark Highland green on the 08 and 01 in the original car. This has a little more blue flake in the metallic, so that it's a little, it still has a very nice metallic sparkle to it, and still is very true to the original essence of the dark Highland green from the movie car. So otherwise, you just have the same hood vents you see, and a lot of stuff does carry over, of course, headlights, all that type of stuff, all the same. But another thing you'll see, no 5.0 badge on the fenders. So many people walk by this at car shows and think it's an EcoBoost because there aren't 5.0 badges until I started up, and then there's no doubt this is definitely not a 4-cylinder. Of course, it's got that beastly V8. So that's cool though, no fender badges. Again, just low profile. The reason they did that is because of the movie car. Again, the movie Bullitt, 1968 Mustang GT Fastback did not have fender badges on it, so they deleted that to again give it this low profile look. In the movie, Steve McQueen plays a detective, and he has a low profile dark green Mustang, and it really fits the character in the movie. Out back here, a couple unique things. you will see are the Bullitt emblem here. It's a faux gas cap kind of look to it. Otherwise, you have the same taillights as any other 2018, 2019 GT. The lower rear valance here. So you will first notice, if you are really sharp-eyed, they got rid of, there used to be little diffusers on both sides here. They deleted that. So this rear valance is unique as well on the Bullitt, and kind of gets rid of that to, again, keep it a little cleaner. You also have these black nitro plate exhaust tips is what they call it. It's the same treatment they do on the F-150 Raptors, and so it just, makes it all blacked out there, and it gives it more of a stealth look. Still the same quad exhaust as you get on, any other Mustang GT, and this one, all Bullitts come standard with the active exhaust, which is 4 modes. The quiet, the normal, the sport, and then the track mode, which opens it up, makes it nice and loud. That's standard on the Bullitt. Usually that's an option on regular GTs. So that's nice to have standard here on the Bullitts. And so another thing is you cannot get a spoiler on the Bullitt. That's another thing, a throwback to the movie car. No spoiler on that car. It's, again, the low profile look. That's the great thing about the Bullitt, is there's no flashy spoilers, there's no badges. It's very discreet, very low profile. And actually the guy that designed all of the S550 Mustangs says the Bullitt is his favorite because it doesn't rely on any scoops or spoilers. It's a very clean design. It just relies on the beautiful lines of the vehicle that, are really nicely stated here with the dark Highland green with the, hood, the new hood here for 18, and just, the beautiful rear haunches. I mean, this is still just a beautiful shape. Just all the S550 Mustangs, and especially the revisions here for 2018 and now, of course, 2019 with that lower hood, just makes for a really, really nice look. So that's all the main exterior stuff. The only other little thing here is you can see the chrome window trim, which I think previously some of the European Mustangs, S550s got this. Also, I think the Pony package on the EcoBoost can get a chrome window treatment like that, but that's it as far as that. But so, just again, little things just to kind of tie it all together, the retro stuff, the little chrome accents all around the vehicle kind of give that retro vibe while still looking very modern and very sleek. While we're on the passenger side here, though, let's climb onto the interior where you'll first see these Bullitt door sills. Usually, now this is based, the interior of this vehicle is based on a GT Premium, and a lot of it is like the 401A package, so it has a lot of the Premium Plus interior. But first thing here, these used to be illuminated on a premium Mustang GT. They're not illuminated here, they're just actual metal though, nice and cool to the touch. And say Bullitt, of course, also it's, embossed in there. It's, kind of recessed, which is great. Also, now I got the option to not get the Recaro seats. Recaro seats are one of 3 options you can get on the Bullitt. They're very limited with the options. So these are just the regular seats, but they're unique. If you, again, pay attention to regular GT, they have less lines here. So this is, again, a retro thing of the additional ribbing, I guess you can call it here, of the seat, and so that's really nice. And also, since one of the main reasons why I skipped the Recaros is so that I could actually still keep the heated and cooled seats, and also the memory function. So it's nice to have that. If you get the Recaros, you get rid of that, you get rid of the power function and everything. I still think these seats have great bolstering and are definitely worth sticking with. If you were to get the Recaros, you'd have the same Recaros as any other GT, except the Recaro logo is stitched in green. Speaking of that green stitching, though, it is everywhere on the interior still. You can see it's matched, it's a dark green, kind of matches the exterior, but you'll see it all along there. It's also on even the floor mats. Very minor little touch, but still nice nonetheless, to kind of set it apart. You'll see more of that over here. The stitching you get with a 401A package for the 2018, now 2019 again, which is, a little bit more soft touch here. And that's all stitched, the armrest, everything gets that dark green stitching. Another thing you'll see here is the cue ball shifter, which is unique to the Bullitt. That's a throwback to the hero car from the movie that survived that has the cue ball shift knob. And so Sean Kiernan, his vehicle, you can go follow if you want to see the original Bullitt Mustang movie car. His Instagram is @TheRealBullitt. You can go check that out. But that's an homage to his car, actually, because if you see the behind the scenes of the filming of Bullitt, it actually had the stock shifter. The cue ball shifter was added after the movie by one of the owners of the vehicle. But I really love the cue ball shifter. It's another kind of 60s retro throwback kind of cue to it that I really love. And so really a nice shifter. You also will see the green stitching again on the shift boot there, which is great. And so another thing you'll see is the dash has the machine spun aluminum. This is a throwback to the 08s that also had a similar pattern here. It's also a retro thing. You'll actually see this pattern in some vehicles from the 40s all the way through to the 60s. and a really cool thing there. Also, you'll see the Bullitt badge. So that, obviously signifies it is a real Bullitt, in fact, and that's the chassis number there. So mine is K0095. That is what number it is coming down the production line. So mine was the 95th one produced, but they don't match up with the VIN number. So my VIN number is actually VIN number 12, but they're not built in order of VIN. So the VIN was generated and then it waited a little while before it was finally actually put into production, hence the discrepancy between 12 and 95. Other things you'll notice here is, again, because it's based on the performance package level 1, you get the gauges there in the middle like those vehicles do. Coming over to the driver's side here, you will see the Bullitt badge there on the steering wheel, which is very cool. Otherwise, the same steering wheel as you get in any other Mustang. It actually does not have the green stitching. It's black stitching here on the steering wheel. Also, the shift boot doesn't have the same green stitching. So those are the only two places, though. Everywhere else does have the green stitching on it. Even on the door here, you'll see more of that green stitching. And again, it's a very minor. It doesn't, stand out, like some of the other brighter stitching colors might, but it's subtle. And, especially whenever it's a brighter day, it really pops nicely while still, again, being subtle. Hopping inside the vehicle here, you'll see that is the B&O Play stereo I was talking about earlier. This is a little bit of a different pattern. It used to have lines here, and so now it just has this additional speaker grill there. Another thing, while we're talking about the B&O Play system, I'll go ahead and show you the subwoofer in the trunk, which is a new design. So the subwoofer is in the same position as it is in any of the Shaker Pro vehicles from 2015 and on, but I think it's definitely a different design. I think it looks like a slightly bigger speaker or subwoofer than the Shaker Pro, or at least the enclosure makes it look a little bit bigger. I'm not sure. I haven't taken it apart or anything to analyze it, but it seems a little bit bigger. The bass definitely seems to be a little bit stronger and cleaner, I've noticed as well. And so a cool upgrade nonetheless. And the last two things here that's unique about the Bullitt is actually in the digital gauge cluster, which is standard. That's a standard thing you get in all Bullitts. You don't have to get any kind of options package. By the way, like I said, the electronics package gives you the B&O Play, also the blind spot monitoring, which, of course, my car has, and the rear cross traffic alert. And it also gives you the memory seat function. And I believe that is it. Heated steering wheel is also standard in the Bullitts. But anyway, this gauge cluster is standard. And so we can go ahead and start it up, and you'll see the one unique thing. It has, sometimes it goes quicker than others, but you can see there the Bullitt, actual front of the new car that flashes on the, instrument cluster here. So that's cool, especially whenever you can see it a little bit longer. It just depends on how quickly, the screen boots up and, how long it's been running and stuff like that. Another unique thing, though, is you'll see the speedometer goes to 180. Usually on Mustang GTs, even with the digital cluster here, they only go to 160. The reason for that is because this has a slightly higher top speed of 163 versus the 155 of a regular Mustang GT, so they of course had to bump the speedometer up to reflect that higher top speed, and so that is a very cool feature as well. Another thing about the 2019s that not a lot of people realize is on the 2018s with the digital gauge cluster, you got a 4-digit RPM readout. Instead, now you just have something that shows your gear indicator there, which I actually personally prefer over a 4-digit readout there. I think that would be really busy and a little distracting. So I kind of like having just the simple, gear indicator on that side and then the speedometer on that side. I think that's really well done. But yeah, so that is basically it. The only other thing is, of course, it'll be a little bit faster, and I'll go into my review on, how it drives differently. Another thing about driving that I'll elaborate more on in my review and show a little bit better is this exhaust actually does crackle and pop on the overrun. So whenever you're getting on the gas, it sounds really good. It has a little bit more of a throatier sound to it, but whenever you let off, it crackles and pops. And I kind of showed that in my first delivery video, so if you haven't watched that already, definitely go check that out. Again, I will have GoPro clips and drive-bys and all that type of stuff once it's broken in, and I can actually take it over, 4,500 RPMs or so, and illustrate that even more. But even at low RPMs, it really crackles and pops, I think, way more than a regular GT. I did my review of the 2018 Mustang GT, and that did not crackle and pop at all, really. I mean, it sounded really good, maybe a little bit, but not nearly as much as this. It is a stark difference in just how much this crackles and pops, and I think that's part of the unique tune, and probably, you know, maybe some of the Shelby hardware causes it to do that a little bit too. I don't know, but I think it's mostly just that tune maybe running a little bit more rich. Another final little detail that most people don't realize about the Bullitts that's unique is that it's actually 1 mpg lower for its rating on the highway. Usually manual performance pack GTs are rated at 25 on the highway. This is 24. I don't mind. It's not a big deal. The miles per gallon, and honestly, I mean, these GTs seem to get much higher highway fuel economy than usual. I know in my 2016 GT they were rated, I think, at like 26 or 25, and I was regularly getting 27, 28 without even trying. So I think this will do better than 24 on the highway, but we'll have to wait and see once it's broken in. But yeah, so that's basically it. The only other thing, you know, is the price. A lot of people still don't know the price of these. Before destination, they started at $46,500. Mine, as loaded, you know, since I have the electronics package and the Magna Ride, do not have the Recaros. But with those two options added on plus destination, mine was $51,350, I believe. And so just over $51,000. To me, it is, again, the Mustang I've been waiting for several years now, and the one I plan to keep forever. So well worth the price to me. But honestly, you know, before everyone says 51 grand for a Mustang, if you actually configure a performance pack level 1 GT and you get the, you know, digital gauges and you get all the same equipment that this car has, it's really only like around $1,000 cheaper, maybe only $800 cheaper than the Bullitt. So honestly, for 20 extra horsepower that's warranted with a full Ford warranty, you know, all those GT350 parts and stuff, and all the unique other little, you know, bits and pieces that crackles and pops from the exhaust and stuff, all that stuff for only an extra $800 to $1,000, I think is a bargain. So even if you're not super into the movie Bullitt or Steve McQueen or the look, I mean, if you can handle, you know, a dark green, or these also come in black, you know, version of the GT, and you don't mind not having the badges and the ponies and stuff like that, I think it's a really good bargain that makes a lot of sense just for a Mustang buyer in general, if you want that extra power. Obviously these are a little harder to get their hands on. Currently dealers for some reason are marking them up because it's a, you know, supply and demand thing, but that'll hopefully go away as more of these come out, and so you know, at that point it will hopefully get a little more affordable for everyone. But I was thankfully able to get mine at MSRP. But yeah, so let me know if you have any other questions about the Bullitt in the comments below. But that is every single thing that's different about this vehicle over a regular Mustang GT. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.